Good to go now. Okay, so does everybody have access to that folder that I sent? It'll be through your McDaniel email. So I only sent it for the fall because my goal is to re-upload everything that you need for fall, spring, summer, so that we have all the appropriate assessments. So just overview of what's happening at McDaniel. We are going through the NCATE process. And so we're trying to redo our national accreditation. It's a 5-year process, but this year has been this season of NCATE has been terribly taxing on us because there are a lot of people in the graduate and professional studies who haven't been following the guidelines for many years. So they're having us redo everything. And not to mention, we got a new dean in these past 5 years. We've got now a new president to the college. So they're trying to really up the game so that we come out as a top certificate instead of, I don't know, just regular with our certification. So what they're having us do is to review all of our rubrics, all of our assessments, and we've been in this process for 2 years now, going through everything, and now we're in the rewrite process of all the rubrics, all the assessments. McDaniel has chosen to allow our accreditation to lapse, and we will be a non-accredited program for 1 to 2 years until we get it right. Let that soak in. So we could turn in the stuff that we kind of sort of know that we're doing well, but I don't know what everybody else is doing. I know that our group here and our EEE program has been following the rules, if not loosely, forever, but but there are some programs who weren't doing any of the assessments or documenting or writing the reports. We had time during COVID where we weren't responsible for doing that, and I know, Amy, you were always like, do I need to fill out that thing? But over COVID, they said, don't worry about collecting any of the data because, with everything else going on, they weren't worried about the data. I still collected from some classes so that we could still have a pocket of data that we were traveling with, especially for many of our newer instructors, as like comparing then to old instructors, that kind of thing. So what we're looking at is going for a year to 2 without our accreditation in order to up the game. Now, if I had better understanding of what up the game meant, I would let you know, but this is the words that they keep saying to us. So we have a whole assessment committee put together, and we have been meeting regularly. Over the summer, we had long full-day meetings where everybody was looking at each other's plans and analyzing each other's plans. Basically, we're doing okay. There are some things that we're going to change, and there are some new rubrics that they're adding that we need to collect new data on. So I feel like it's a little overwhelming because it's a big data push for something that's not going to do anything more than already the assessments that we collect, but we're going to follow the rules and do what they ask us to do. So the instructional...
Melissa, can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, it's because I just had to pause for a second when a teacher came in. Are you saying just our program?
No, the whole GPS, all GPS, all the graduate and professional studies.
And so they're just letting it lapse? Okay.
I know, that's why Charles made the face he made, because it doesn't make much sense to me at all, especially because we have so much...
Do the students know?
I really don't know. I have no idea how this is going down. So it would affect those that are going for their master's programs and those sorts of things, but I don't know how this affects them in the end game. I don't know how it affects people in the end game. So I know that for our certificate, it doesn't bother. Like, it won't bother anybody adding on certifications. But for those people who are doing first masters and like masters in admin and masters in secondary and elementary, I'm not sure what that means. So the more information I collect on it, the more I will share with you. Today we had a major report due, and I'll kind of show you what that report looks like from our end. I've chosen to do rewrites on some things and collect data on those specific things and move forward then and do rewrites on the next set. And yeah, right. And then do rewrites and continue to roll it kind of so that we're doing it correctly and as we go. I have gotten Zero feedback on my rough draft of the report that was due today in final form. So I really I'm at a loss. Even when I met with Dean Mazer last Thursday, we talked about some things, and she is very, very happy with the way we run the program. So I think equity and excellence is their last worry, because we have been so much closer to the mark than any of the other programs, which doesn't, still, for those of us who are educators and searching for excellence, it's not okay to let us out in the dark without any answers. That's what I expressed to her. And so I figured by this week I would hear from the head of that committee, maybe about our report that I haven't gotten the draft notes on. So, you okay, Riddle? You pondering deep thoughts in life? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, my question doesn't matter for us, but like, how's that affect the teacher pool coming out of there?
Yeah, I don't know. And again,
That's scary.
I will gather more information. So we have another meeting at the, what's the 27th? Next week. 27th next week. So I will get more information. I mean, yeah, that was what they were talking about, though, is allowing it to lapse and then picking it up. It would be gone for about a year, though. Like the certification would be, and I don't know, is there a grace period? Perhaps there's a grace period that, you allow it to lapse, but as long as you get your stuff in, then it's not a big deal. I'm not sure. So as soon as I get more info, I'll let you guys know. That'll be an email. Okay, so let's take a look at these institutional assessments. I'm going to share my screen with you guys so that you can see where I am, and then you should have these. And if you don't, please let me know, but they should go to your McDaniel email. Okay, so it should look fall 22, spring 23 instructor data collection, and there is a crap ton of stuff in here. So what's important is that, so for instance, for this fall, and Riddle, I think this is you, and Tiki are 521. So just like you did years ago, you're going to go in, and Tiki, this is new to you, but go into the 521 document, make a copy of it, put the course dates and your name on it, and then when folks finish the instructional revision plan, all you're going to do is mark, based on the rubric, how many people got the highest score, exemplary, proficient, developing, and unsatisfactory. Okay? So that part's still simple, kind of what you've done before, and dump it back into this folder, because then I'll see everything. I'll actually make another folder that says completed data charts, and you can just dump into there. The only other thing that I need from folks, and I will send you an email based on your specific class, which one of these documents you need to do, are these additional pieces that are the effective communication data, the information literacy data, the technology data, and the knowledge data. So right now we are working on these two data points, the effective communication and the information literacy. So for the ETM 521, you are going to be covering both of these in your data collection, because we're going to be looking at, were they able to research, to explain why they chose the new theories that they did, what theories from the class affected them, and then how well were they able to communicate their ideas to you in that writing. The rubrics for this, so this is what one of those data charts looks like, just so you know. So you're going to do the student's name, and then you're going to rank them 1 to 4 in each of these columns. This column number 3 is not going to be applicable for most of what we do, because, for instance, in that instructional revision plan, they aren't giving us an oral presentation. Now, with that said, when we do the focus group plan, they typically do a video of that presentation, so we'll collect that as an oral sample. So for most parts, it'll be just component 1, 2, 4, and 5. Okay? So in order to get an idea of what that should look like, there are rubrics attached to each of these. And these are the rubrics. So I'm talking about after you go through the class, and listen, I only need like a sampling of your students. So if you have over 10 students, only give me a sampling of 10 of those students to do each of these rubrics on, because if not, I feel like it's completely overwhelming and unnecessary. So 10 would be the max students that you would ever fill out this rubric for, putting 10 names and then filling out their 1 to 4 for 10 people. I need a sampling of data across our whole program. I don't need every single capturable person. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, but what I will do is I will publish the list, and this was what I was really hoping for the feedback from our coordinators of this program, or for these assessments on, was, like, does this work? Are the classes that I propose these for the ones that you would choose, or the ones that are most effective? How would you like that to look? And I haven't gotten feedback. So I think that I'm just going to publish the chart that I gave them myself and just say, this is the chart we're going to go by, and these are where we're going to assess different data, these data points. So 521 is really important to us because it is now being taught, and those of you like Tiki, you know this because you taught it in the summer too. It's being taught throughout programs in GPS. So most of the teacher education programs chose 521 as the diversity, equity, and inclusion class that they wanted to include in their program. Now, people have the option of taking the others for more credits and more information if they want, but they have to. This 521 has become a recognized course that they have to take. It's a required course. So that includes for the ITL group. It's being added into the admin group also, so keep that in mind. So we're going to see different people flowing and flooding in, but that's why 521 is now filling, and we're kind of overwhelmed with 521 classes. And sometime, like over the summer, we actually had a wait list on 521 classes. So it will be probably very likely that 521 is going to be the class that we offer every session, and sometimes multiple times a session, just to cover. So do you guys have any questions on this rubric, what it should look like by the time you're done? Student name, 1, 2, 3, 4. The instructions are over here. At the bottom, there are some comments about overall strengths and weaknesses, like what could we do? You can fill that out, that's fine. This is this is kind of like the way we already communicate at the end of each of our courses, where I say, hey, give me feedback, like what worked for you, what didn't work for you, what can we change? So if you don't put it here and you still email me, that's fine. Whatever the case may be, I'll have it in both places then. Okay, so we have the rubrics that are in the rubrics section in that folder I shared with you, and then the actual data collection sheet that you have. But everybody will be filling out, again, these SLO data sheets. In the past year here, the 2 semesters, I had to write a report on the past 2 semesters. And in those past 2 semesters, I just went back and I got myself added to a bunch of classes so that I could pull the data. So let me show you. I don't think this is my final chart. This was just the base chart, maybe. Yeah, so this was the base chart. So this is what our base chart plan will look like whenever it gets turned in. And all of the SLOs are there, and then how we're actually doing the assessments. So in each of our forms, we're doing an indirect assessment and a direct assessment, and I'll get to those with you later because right now we're only focused on direct assessments, and then we'll be rolling in the indirects as we go into our spring semester. I'll be asking you to do, there's another form that we're actually in the process of creating for indirect assessments. So this is what the map looks like then, where we figure people will learn about the SLOs. So these are all the reports and things that I've been collecting and putting things together for. This is the report that they received from me. This was my draft report, so excuse all the yellows, but it was my way of seeing what I was able to see. So basically the SLO, how we judged it, and then this was the overall data collection information, and these are the things that students struggled with, and what are some of the ways that we have been trying to improve that. So this does not include, though, the SLOs that are, or the, I'm sorry, the assessment charts from the GPS SLOs, their outcomes. So that's where these will come in our next stage. Now that you're starting to collect data, I'll start to collect that from you and input it into here. that's something that without you, I won't be able to do. I won't be able to figure that part out. So, all right. Any questions?